Welcome to the LDN radio show, brought to you by the LDN Research Trust. I'm your host, Linda Elsiegood. I have an exciting lineup of guest speakers who are LDN experts in their field. We will be discussing low-dose Naltrexone and its many uses in autoimmune diseases, cancers, etc. Thank you for joining us. This show is sponsored by our members who made donations. We'd like to give them a very big thank you. We have to cover the monthly costs of the radio station's software, bandwidth, phone lines and phone calls to be able to continue with the radio show. And thank you for listening. Today my guest is Misty Rushing, who's started a wonderful movement, CRNA.fm.com. Thank you for joining us today, Misty.
Thank you for inviting me, Linda.
First of all, can you give us your background? You know, what led you to be the person you are today?
Certainly. I was working as a critical care nurse in the ICU for many years, and then I decided to continue my education, and I went and applied for anesthesia school and enrolled, and after a couple of years earned my master's degree and became board certified in nurse anesthesia practice. And I became a CRNA, certified registered nurse anesthetist or nurse anesthesiologist. And I worked many, many hours, 60 plus hours a week, many hours of the day and night, 24-hour in-house call, doing lots of different surgeries and anesthesia. I was overworking myself, and I had a tick bite while hiking in 2009, and the combination of just having a very unhealthy lifestyle, poor sleep, poor diet, plus the Lyme disease I contracted from the tick bite, I crashed and required, I had always been very healthy, but for the first time in my life, I was requiring assistance. I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I couldn't seem to get better. I was suffering from severe fatigue and skin rashes and joint pains and the typical mysterious Lyme symptoms that can pop up. And in 2013, I was diagnosed with scleroderma and severe pulmonary hypertension and interstitial lung disease, pulmonary fibrosis, which is very common with this particular type of scleroderma that I was diagnosed with. It's also known as limited systemic sclerosis. And I went out on disability. And for someone who was a type A personality workaholic, it was very difficult for me to make that transition, but I physically could not work anymore. And I have to give credit to modern conventional medicine for stabilizing me. I required oxygen and I needed medications to stabilize me quickly, and it did help me. And about a year or so later, I felt like there was nothing else to offer me in conventional medicine. I was actually told I had 5 years to live, maybe 10, and that it would be best if I got my affairs in order because the future was uncertain for me. And I discovered functional medicine at that point and became very interested in learning about root cause analysis for chronic conditions. So I really started diving into the research and became familiar with some of the top practitioners in the field and began following their blogs and their journal papers, and that just got involved in the movement itself and started working with different practitioners and began changing my diet, my lifestyle, looking at heavy metal toxicities, doing really innovative testing that my conventional medical team wasn't even aware of. And little by little, I started to feel better. And I knew that there was something to this. So I just kept going, and there's a whole. I felt like this is information that the scleroderma community, patient community, really didn't have any idea existed. I didn't really see much posted in patient forums online. So I thought I wanted to share what I was reading, and I thought the best way to do that would be to form a Facebook group. So I formed Scleroderma and Functional Medicine Facebook group about 3 years ago with 30 members that were Facebook friends of mine. And with those 30 members, they told their friends, and it grew and grew. And today it's over 5,300 members worldwide. And it's a study group, and we just share resources, educational resources, mainly around functional medicine. And it's grown into a great movement that I'm very proud of, and lots of really good members helping each other. And one of the things that we discuss frequently, I'd say probably once a week or more, is the use of LDN, or low-dose naltrexone.
Mm-hmm. And do you use low-dose naltrexone yourself?
Absolutely. It has been one of the most significant therapies that's really helped me. And I have no plans on ever stopping it. I think the benefits are so wonderful that with the damaged immune system, at least I think I have a damaged immune system. I think the benefits will help me no matter what I'm doing in my lifestyle or diet changes. This is such a nice, I think of it as an adjuvant that I have no plans on ever going off of it. It has really helped me that much.
Mm-hmm. For our listeners who don't know what scleroderma is, could you explain what it is for us, please?
Sure. It's a rare autoimmune connective tissue disease. Many people haven't heard of it. A lot of doctors haven't seen it or heard of it. There's about maybe 300,000 people in the U.S. at any given time that have some form of systemic sclerosis. That's the other name for scleroderma. It's a systemic condition. So just for reference, it's similar in a way to lupus. And a lot of people have heard of lupus, are a little more familiar with it. Lupus can affect the kidneys and skin. It can affect a lot of different organ systems. Systemic sclerosis or scleroderma is very similar. It's systemic. It can affect the organ system. Anywhere there's connective tissue in the body can be affected. Most commonly, the skin can become hard and shiny. The hands can become contracted into like a claw type shape. It makes it very difficult to do things. And the mouth can become very small and tight. The lungs can be affected. You can develop pulmonary hypertension, which is high blood pressure in the lungs. You can also develop pulmonary fibrosis, interstitial lung disease. Anywhere there's connective tissue in the body, it can become hardened, scar-like. The heart can be affected. It basically is causing a lot of fibrosis, an overproduction of collagen, if you will, because of the antibodies that are produced. The body is attacking its own connective tissue. And there's no cure, and there's not really much out there as far as conventional medicine to control the symptoms or halt the progress. There are immune suppressants that are used, typically like Cellcept, which is a mycophenolate. But there are really severe side effects that one must consider when taking immune suppressants like that. And there is evidence that a lot of scleroderma is caused by infections like mycoplasma infections, Lyme disease, Borrelia, for example. And a lot of people have found that using antibiotics through antibiotic therapy has put them in remission. But this is not a conventional medical approach. It's hard to find a physician that will treat you. And of course, antibiotics long-term have their own risk factors too. Mm-hmm. So it's really frustrating with a disease that's rare. And also, to put it into perspective, of all the autoimmune diseases that are known, I think there's over 180 now, this is one of the most difficult and challenging, and has the highest morbidity and mortality, meaning that it can be very lethal very quickly. Like I said, I was told I had, by 3 different physicians, I had 5 years, maybe 10 years. I'm beating the odds. I'm actually doing quite well today, but it's very scary.
Yes.
And we need more awareness. We need more things to help us. Maybe there is no cure, but what if we can feel better? What if we can halt the progress of fibrosis? And I do believe that LDN is one of those things that can be very beneficial to a lot of people.
Would you mind sharing some details about yourself? I mean, would you mind telling us what your condition was like before you found functional medicine, and then what it was like once you started the LDN, and what you're like now? Would you mind sharing that? Mm-hmm.
When I was forced to go on disability, and I say forced because I did not want to stop working. I had my own private practice. I was covering anesthesia services as an independent contractor at multiple facilities throughout Northern and Southern California. There were moments when I would be on a plane flying to my next shift. I treated Southwest Airlines as though it was a bus in the sky with wings, getting on flying a plane or getting in a car and driving to the next hospital. It was the same to me. And I really enjoyed what I did. And I was very successful in this new business I had started as independent contracting, working with different hospitals and clinics. And I did not want to stop doing that, but my body was protesting. And so I know it was like I hit rock bottom physically, and I couldn't physically work, and it was very hard for me to accept that. I was requiring more oxygen than my patients needed. And who wants an anesthesiologist that's that ill, putting them to sleep, right? I had to face the facts. And I realized that, okay, I'm really sick. I have to get some help. And now if I keep working in this condition, I'm actually putting my patients at risk. And it was hard, but I did go out on disability, and I was on oxygen 24 hours a day. I could not even speak in complete sentences because I was so short of breath that I couldn't get enough oxygen in to even hardly speak. And I could barely walk across the room without collapsing. Pulmonary hypertension is the best way to explain how it feels is if you're on a mountaintop, Mount Everest, 10,000 plus feet or even 8,000 feet, and you kind of feel that mountain sickness, shortness of breath, headache. So that's how you feel with pulmonary hypertension at sea level. Mm-hmm. So I was really sick, but like I said, I think conventional medicine helped stabilize me quickly. I started 2 different medicines to bring my pulmonary artery pressures down, and was on oxygen, and I started feeling better, and I started doing some functional medicine treatments. Heavy metal toxicity was tested. I was high in mercury, had my amalgams removed from my teeth very safely with a biological dentist. And I started a gluten-free, dairy-free diet, did some testing for food sensitivities. Also was working on the environment, the Wi-Fi in my house, getting better sleep at night, working on stress and some family trauma. I was really tackling everything from many different angles. And I really didn't start to feel better until I started the LDN. LDN, when I started a very low dose and worked my way up to about 4.5 milligrams over a couple of months. And that was the biggest help in regards to fatigue and just having more energy so that I could keep working on other parts of my healing journey. It also really lifted my mood and helped me when I felt so discouraged and depressed, because everything I was reading about scleroderma, pulmonary hypertension and pulmonary fibrosis, which were my main symptoms, was very discouraging and scary. And then I also was getting, some people say they don't sleep well at first when they start taking LDN because it's so stimulating, and it can give you a lot of vivid dreams, which I still do have vivid dreams to this day, but I actually felt like it did help me sleep. And I think it also did, I don't have proof, but I feel like it did halt the progression of the autoimmune disorder, scleroderma. I was getting pulmonary function tests and echocardiograms periodically, and I could see some trends where the disease itself was slowing down. But it's hard to pinpoint what was that. I was doing so many things, and I still do a lot of things, but it's hard to say exactly what one thing is making the biggest difference. But I don't really think that's important. I think it is important to tackle a complex chronic illness like scleroderma from multiple angles. And LDN just really helped me physically feel better quickly.
Mm-hmm. And you also have a website as well as the Facebook group. How do patients find you?
My website is a little inactive at the moment. I'm going to be changing some things and creating a membership portal so I can share more of my curated research and resources with the community and anyone that's interested in scleroderma and functional medicine. People generally find me through word of mouth on Facebook. Facebook's my social media of choice. I'm getting into Instagram, but I'm not as active over there. But people on Inspire.com have shared the Facebook group with others, and people ask to join. I get about anywhere between 5 to 15 requests to join the Facebook group a day, and it's growing. I have several admins that are helping me moderate the group now. And when I'm more active on my website, which I will be soon, I think I'll probably do some targeted ads just to help get the word out there. I also attend the National Convention, Patient Education Convention for scleroderma that is produced by the Scleroderma Foundation. I'm a board member for the Texas Bluebonnet chapter of the Scleroderma Foundation, and I'm also a co-leader for the Scleroderma support group here in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. So I'm very visible in the community, and I try to get the word out to patients in the community, and then they share it with other patients.
Mm-hmm. So do you do physical meetings, in person as well as through social media?
I don't personally conduct meetings or sessions or anything. I'm not a practitioner for functional medicine. I have returned back to work as a nurse anesthetist, but I only work part-time. I think of myself as being more of a curator and a concierge for the scleroderma patient community. I'm also in contact with a lot of scleroderma physicians and researchers, like rheumatologists, gastroenterologists, family practice medicine doctors, and I connect a lot of people together. I'm visible at public things like the Scleroderma Foundation that occurs once a year in July. I'm always there. I make an effort to connect with people there. I'm a co-leader at our support group, so every 2 months we have a physical meeting in Dallas-Fort Worth where people can connect with me there. And everything I do is free of service. It's my unique offering to the community. I believe in giving back. It helps you to receive a lot of abundance and blessings. Is a reciprocal law of the universe that I believe in, beyond the golden rule. If I have useful information, I want people to know about it. And that's all I do. Is I'm just a concierge. I'm just a curator. If you contact me by Facebook Messenger or through the Facebook group, and you want me to help you find something, I can help you find a practitioner. I can help you find literature in the medical. PubMed.gov, for example, is a good website for diving into the medical literature to look for publications that you can take to your doctors. I have made this recommendation a lot to people regarding LDN. Many members in our group, we've discovered it's sometimes difficult to get our mainstream doctors to prescribe LDN, and I've directed them to the correct resources in the medical literature and how to access them, print them out, take them with them, and how to have a conversation that can start the process of getting their practitioner to prescribe it. And then if that doesn't work, a backup would be to find a list of practitioners that can prescribe it for them using the LDN website, for example.
But it's very helpful when you're a patient, when you have something that's rare, that you may never have heard of before, you don't know anybody who's got it, to actually mix with other people who are in the same situation as yourself. So you don't feel quite so frightened alone when you have somebody else you can share the experience with who understands.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's important for people like myself who have really made a significant recovery from where I was in 2013 to where I am today, to be visible and present in the illness community. I know why now people who do get better don't stay. It's very challenging for me. I want to go out and live the best life I can, and I'm so grateful for my life, more than I ever have been before. And I think this is common with anyone who's experienced an illness to this magnitude. When you do feel better, the last thing you want to do is think about that illness. You want to put it behind you, and you want to go out and continue living your life. And I do that. Don't get me wrong, I still do, but I know that I have a calling. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's a calling to stay in the community and stay visible so that others can see that if I can get better, others can get better. And it's really difficult because when you go to support group meetings, the people who are primarily there are the ones that are suffering. The ones who are doing better don't want to come back. And it used to frustrate me, but I understand why now. And I'm making an effort to continue to go back, to continue to be visible in the community. And I don't make I don't give false hope. I don't make promises, and I never give advice. I just say, here I am. Here's where I've been. Here's the things that helped me. Here's how I did it. I can help you find your path. I can help you connect with practitioners who will do the functional medicine testing, who will help you with additional resources that just cannot be found through the conventional method. And I allow people to, be their own people and progress on their own journey. Illness is really interesting, and it is a great teacher. And it is, I don't wish to interfere in anyone's story. I just want to be an example that it is possible to feel better. And I don't know where I'm going to be next year or 2 years from now, but I want to stay connected to the community just so I can be an example for others and give them the motivation to keep going, to keep trying.
Well, that's wonderful. Oh, long may your success continue, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Well, thank you, Linda, for asking me to participate. I really am very thrilled to follow you on social media. I like a lot of your posts. I share a lot of the things that you share with my Facebook group. People have come to know your name and what you do for the LDN community, and we are very happy to support you. And anything that I can do to help increase the awareness of LDN use in scleroderma, I'm happy to do that too. To introduce you to practitioners who are prescribing it, patients in the scleroderma community that are taking it. If you want more stories or anything that I can do to make that happen, I really do want to get the word out how beneficial LDN is for people diagnosed with scleroderma.
Well, when we've ended this show, I'll have a chat with you. But thank you once again.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Thank you.
This show is sponsored by our members who made donations. We'd like to give them a very big thank you. We have to cover the monthly costs of the radio station's software, bandwidth, phone lines and phone calls to be able to continue with the radio show. And thank you for listening. Any questions or comments you may have, please email me, Linda, Linda, at ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciated your company. Until next time, stay safe and keep well.